The air on the alien training grounds was thick with tension. Rows of strange, towering creatures with sharp eyes and glistening skin stood around the arena, whispering among themselves. They had gathered to witness something no species had ever tried before, a human girl stepping into a duel against their most skilled warriors. The girl, small in comparison to the aliens, stood tall. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, and her eyes were calm but sharp. She carried only a simple pack and a pair of ordinary-looking swords, nothing flashy. But there was a quiet confidence about her that made the alien spectators uneasy. "Look at her," hissed the tall, blue-skinned alien. "Humans are weak. They cannot even lift a sword properly. This will be over in seconds." The girl heard him but did not respond. She simply tightened her grip on her swords. She knew they were underestimating her, and she was going to prove them wrong. The arena gate opened, and a warrior much taller and bulkier than any human walked out. His eyes glowed faintly, and his hands flexed around a weapon that looked like a mix between a blade and an energy cannon. The crowd of aliens cheered and hissed in excitement. They were sure the human would fail. "You think you can fight?" the alien bellowed, his voice echoing. "No species can dual-wield. You will fall in seconds." The girl's lips curved into a small, confident smile. She took a step forward, drawing both of her swords. The blades gleamed under the alien sun, reflecting the shocked faces of the crowd. For a moment there was silence. No one had expected a human to pull out two swords at once. The idea seemed impossible. The aliens murmured among themselves, whispering doubts and disbelief. The girl's heart beat steadily. She had trained her whole life for this moment. The humans on Earth had always been underestimated. Every time they had faced stronger opponents, they had found a way to survive and to win. The duel began. The alien warrior charged, his massive weapon swinging in a deadly arc. The girl dodged swiftly, stepping to the side and slashing with her right sword. The blade connected, sparking against the alien's armor. He growled in surprise, clearly not expecting a human to be so fast. She followed with a quick strike of her left sword, forcing the alien to step back. The crowd gasped. Humans were supposed to be weak, slow, fragile. Yet here she was, moving faster than their best warriors, her swords dancing in perfect coordination. The alien tried to swing his heavy weapon again, but the girl ducked under it and rolled across the ground. She sprang to her feet and sliced again, forcing him to stagger. For a moment, the arena was filled with the sound of clashing metal and the rhythmic movement of the human girl. "Impossible," one alien whispered. "She moves like two fighters at once." The girl's mind was calm. Every movement was calculated. Every swing, every block, every step was planned and precise. She didn't rely on brute strength. She relied on speed, agility, and technique. The aliens were strong, but they had never fought a human like her. The duel continued, each strike and counter building tension in the arena. The aliens in the crowd leaned forward, some whispering to each other. Can she really do it? Others shook their heads, unable to believe what they were seeing. Suddenly, the alien warrior lunged with incredible speed, his weapon glowing with energy. It was his signature attack, something he had defeated dozens of warriors with before. The girl barely had time to react. She crossed her swords in front of her, blocking the strike, but the force pushed her backward. She stumbled, almost losing her balance. The crowd erupted, shouting and gasping. Some cheered for the alien, thinking the human had been caught off guard. Others were too stunned to speak. The girl took a deep breath, regaining her stance. She could feel the energy of the arena pulsing around her, the anticipation of the crowd, the tension in the air. Her eyes narrowed. She had to turn this around. She had to show them that humans were not to be underestimated. With a swift movement, she spun, using her momentum to launch herself toward the alien. Both swords moved together, one striking high, one low. The alien tried to block, but her speed and precision were too much. Sparks flew as metal clashed against metal, and the alien stumbled backward, his glowing weapon flashing dangerously. The girl pressed her advantage, her movements fluid and controlled. Each strike forced the alien to defend. Each counter was precise. The crowd watched in awe, unable to believe the human skill. Even the other aliens in the arena, trained their entire lives for combat, were struggling to keep up with her. Dual-wielding, it's impossible, another alien muttered. But it was happening right before their eyes. The girl's mind raced. She had to end the duel quickly, before the alien could recover. She focused on her next move, calculating the perfect angle and timing she would use as momentum against him. As the alien swung his weapon in a wide arc, she ducked and rolled under strike, then sprang up behind him. With a swift motion, she brought both swords down in a coordinated strike. The alien blocked with his weapon, but the force was too strong. He stumbled, lost his balance, and fell to one knee. The arena was silent for a moment. The crowd could hardly believe what they were seeing. A human girl had brought the strongest warrior of the alien species to his knees. The girl stood over him, her swords ready, her breathing steady. She could see the fear and disbelief in his eyes. For the first time, he realized that this human was not weak. She was different, unpredictable, and dangerous. "You?" he stammered, trying to find words. But the girl did not give him time. With a swift motion, she stepped back, crossing her swords in front of her. She did not strike again. She wanted him to know that humans could fight, that humans could survive, that humans could win. The crowd erupted in noise, some cheering, some gasping, some whispering in awe. The aliens who had doubted humans now looked at her with a mixture of fear and respect. She had proven them wrong in a way no one could have imagined. The girl did not celebrate. She simply turned, sheathing her swords with practiced ease. Her eyes scanned the crowd, knowing that this was only the beginning. She had won this duel, but the path ahead was full of challenges. The alien species was vast, their warriors powerful, and their prejudice against humans strong. But she had shown them one undeniable truth. Humans could fight in ways they never expected. As she walked out of the arena, whispers followed her. No species can dual-wield until now. She knew that the real test was yet to come. This duel had been the first step, the unexpected turning point that would change the way aliens saw humans forever. She had survived. She had proven herself. And she had sparked something new. A fear, respect, and a curiosity that would follow her through every challenge ahead. The sun set over the alien training grounds, casting long shadows across the arena. The girl looked out, ready for whatever came next. She knew that the universe was bigger than she had ever imagined, and that every species would have to rethink what they knew about humans. And somewhere in the crowd, the defeated alien warrior watched her leave. He clenched his fists, not in anger, but in awe. He had underestimated the human race, and now he would never forget it. The unexpected turning point had arrived, and the human girl had made history in her first duel. The aliens would talk about this day for generations, and she would be ready for the next challenge, the next opponent, the next step in proving that humans were not weak. They were unstoppable when they used their skill, their mind, and their courage. The night fell, but the story had only begun. The human girl had grabbed two swords, faced impossible, and changed the rules forever. And in the quiet of the arena, one thing was certain. No species would ever underestimate a human again. The sun had barely risen over the alien training grounds when the human girl returned. Today's challenge was unlike anything she had faced before. Rumors had spread among the alien warriors overnight. Some whispered in fear, others in disbelief. The story of her first victory had traveled fast, and now everyone wanted to see if she could survive the next duel. The arena was larger today. Its walls were covered with glowing symbols, pulsing faintly, feeding energy to the combat field. Alien spectators from different species crowded around, curious to witness the human skill firsthand. She could feel their eyes on her, their judgment, their expectation of failure. But she had learned something from yesterday. Expectations could be shattered. A low rumble echoed across the arena as the gates opened. The new opponent emerged. He was not just strong, he was terrifying. His skin was dark red, almost metallic, and his eyes burned with an inner fire. In his hands, he held a pair of massive energy blades that hummed with deadly power. Every step he took made the ground tremble. The crowd roared with excitement. "He will crush her," hissed one alien. "No human can survive this." The human girl adjusted her grip on her swords. They were small, ordinary blades by comparison, but she knew their weight, their balance, every inch of them. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Are you ready?" the red alien asked, his voice deep and resonant. "I will end this quickly." The girl did not answer. She simply nodded, her eyes locked on his. Calm, focused, determined, the duel began. The red alien attacked first, swinging one of his energy blades and a wide arc sparks flew as it cut the air. The human girl dodged, ducking low and rolling to the side. With a swift motion, she slashed her right sword, then her left, keeping her opponent on the defensive. The alien snarled. "Impressive," he said, "but speed alone will not save you." He struck again, faster this time, his energy blades creating arcs of light that cut through the air like lightning. The girl blocked one blade with her sword, but the other clipped her shoulder. Pain shot through her, but she did not falter. She twisted, rolling under his strike, and came up behind him. Her swords moved in perfect harmony, attacking at angles he could not defend against simultaneously. The crowd gasped. This was not a human fight. They had never seen anyone move like this. She struck, blocked, dodged, and countered in a rhythm so precise it seemed like a dance. Suddenly, the red alien leaped back, putting distance between them. His breathing was heavy, but his eyes were sharp. "You are clever, human," he said, "but cleverness alone cannot win against power." The girl's lips curved into a faint smile. She had expected this. Power was his strength, but speed, technique, and observation were hers. She studied him carefully. Every motion he made, every pattern in his attack, she memorized. The alien charged again, faster than before. His blades cut through the air with a low hum. The girl moved like water. She dodged and parried, her sword striking in perfect synchronization. Sparks flew. The sound of metal against energy filled the arena. Then came the unexpected. The red alien feinted, pretending to strike left, but swung right. The girl reacted instinctively, blocking the strike, but she saw the opening he had left. Using her agility, she rolled beneath him and slashed upward with both swords. The alien stumbled backward, surprised. His eyes widened. "Impossible," he muttered. "No human should move like this." But the duel was far from over. The alien recovered quickly, his movements faster and more unpredictable. The human girl realized she could not rely solely on her previous tactics. She had to adapt. Using the environment, she leaped onto a raised platform, then spun, striking from above. Her swords cut in arcs, forcing the alien to jump back. She moved again, sliding under a glowing blade, countering with precise strikes that grazed his armor. The crowd erupted with noise, a mix of excitement, fear, and disbelief. No human had ever moved like this in the history of their universe. Some spectators began to murmur among themselves. "She is not just human. She is something else." The red alien's breathing grew heavier. He was powerful, yes, but he was not used to opponents who did not fight like him. He had fought many species, all relying on strength and brute force. None had countered his moves with such speed, agility, and unpredictability. The human girl's mind raced. She needed to end this duel before the alien could adapt further. She studied him closely, noticing a pattern in his attacks, a subtle pause before he struck with his right blade. She planned her next move carefully. The alien lunged forward, his energy blades glowing brightly. The girl waited, then sidestepped and twisted her body. With a swift motion, she crossed her swords, deflecting both blades. Sparks flew, illuminating the arena with bright flashes. Then she spun, striking at the alien's exposed side. Her right sword connected, grazing his armor, while her left sword blocked a counterstrike. The alien growled, taken aback. He had expected to dominate her with sheer power, but she was not only surviving, she was controlling the flow of the duel. The girl pressed her advantage, striking with precision and timing. Every movement forced the alien to defend, retreat, and hesitate. She was not reckless. She was calculated. Every strike had a purpose. Every movement had meaning. Suddenly, the alien executed a spinning attack, faster than anything she had seen. She barely blocked it with both swords, the force pushing her back several feet. Her arms trembled from the impact, but her focus never wavered. "You are strong," the alien said, panting. "I underestimated you." The girl smiled faintly, feeling a surge of confidence. She had seen the pause in his movements, and now it was time to strike decisively. She darted forward, moving faster than before. One sword attacked high, the other low, striking angles he could not defend at the same time. The alien staggered, his armor smoking from the impact. The crowd was on its feet, cheering and shouting. This human girl had turned the impossible into reality. With one final, precise move, she disarmed him, sending his energy blades flying across the arena. The red alien fell to his knees, breathing heavily. His eyes met hers, a mixture of shock, disbelief, and respect shining through. The human girl lowered her swords, standing tall. She had survived the impossible duel. The crowd erupted, some cheering, some gasping, some whispering in awe. Aliens who had doubted humans now looked at her differently. She was no longer just a human. She was a warrior who had rewritten the rules of combat. The red alien rose slowly, kneeling before her in a gesture of respect. "You are extraordinary," he said. "I misjudged your species. Humans are stronger than we believed." The girl nodded respectfully. "Strength is not just power," she said simply. "It is skill, strategy, and courage." The arena fell silent for a moment. The message was clear. Humans were not weak. They could fight, adapt, and survive in ways no one expected. As she walked out of the arena, the spectators whispered among themselves, "The human girl, she has changed everything. No one will underestimate humans again." She knew the path ahead would be even more challenging. There were stronger opponents, more dangerous arenas, and endless tests waiting. But for today, she had proven her point. She had survived the first true duel, and the universe had taken notice. The sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the arena. The human girl looked toward the horizon, ready for the next challenge. She had learned something important today. No matter how strong an opponent seemed, skill, speed, and courage could always turn the tide. And somewhere in the crowd, the defeated alien watched her leave. He clenched his fists, not in anger, but in awe. He had seen a human rewrite the rules of combat, and he would never forget it. The first duel was over, but the story of a human girl had only begun. The crowd had barely recovered from the first duel when the next challenge was announced. Whispers filled the air like a storm, carrying a mix of awe and doubt. "She survived! She defeated the Red Warrior," they said. "But can she face what comes next?" The human girl adjusted her swords, feeling the weight and balance in her hands. She had grown accustomed to the stares, the disbelief, and the murmurs of the alien crowd. Every duel taught her more, sharpened her reflexes, and built her confidence. Today, however, the stakes were higher than ever. The arena gates opened with a deafening roar. The opponent that emerged made the previous warrior look small by comparison. This alien was enormous, easily twice the height of any human, with muscles that rippled under armor that looked like molten steel. His eyes glowed a fierce green, and his claws, long, sharp, and deadly, scratched the ground with each step. The alien's presence alone shook the arena. Some spectators stumbled back in fear. "No human can survive him," muttered one, voice trembling. Others shook their heads, whispering, "This is impossible." The human girl took a deep breath. She knew he was strong. She also knew strength alone did not win battles. Strategy, skill, and speed could overcome even the most powerful opponent. She planted her feet firmly, gripping her swords, and met his gaze with calm determination. The massive alien raised one claw and spoke, his voice echoing like thunder. "I will crush you, human. No species has ever survived me." The girl said nothing. Silence was her strategy. Words were unnecessary. Her movements, precision, and skill would speak louder than any threat. The duel began. The alien charged like a storm, his claws slicing the air with deadly speed. The human girl moved like water. She dodged to the side, rolling under his strike, and countered with a swing of her right sword. Sparks flew as it scraped against his armor. Before he could recover, her left sword struck in tandem, forcing him to block both attacks simultaneously. The alien roared, shocked at her speed. No human had ever moved like this. He swung wildly, tried to use his brute strength to overpower her, but she was too quick, too precise. Every attack was calculated, every block perfect. The human girl noticed a pattern. The alien's strength was immense, but his movements were predictable in their repetition. She could anticipate where he would strike next. A small smile crossed her face. This was where her skill would shine. The alien leaped high, trying to crush her with a downward strike. She rolled forward, narrowly avoiding his claw. With a spin, she struck back, slicing along the edge of his armor. The alien staggered, surprised by her agility. The crowd gasped. The human skill, something they had never seen, was changing the way aliens viewed combat. Even the strongest, most disciplined warriors were struggling to keep up with her movements. The alien attacked again, faster this time. His claws glowed with energy, ready to tear through anything in their path. The human girl blocked one claw with her left sword, then deflected the other with her right. Sparks and arcs of energy lit up the arena like lightning. "You are not like the others," the alien said through gritted teeth. "No human should move like this." The girl's eyes narrowed. She had to end this duel before the alien adapted. She danced around him, her swords moving in perfect harmony, striking at angles that force and defend instead of attack. She was not reckless. Every swing had a purpose. Every movement had a strategy. The alien's breathing grew heavier. He had underestimated her skill, thinking humans were fragile and weak. He had never fought someone who could move like this, who could anticipate attacks while countering so fluidly. The human girl's movements became a blur. She struck high and low, left and right, moving faster than the eye could follow. The alien swung wildly, trying to land a single blow, but she was always one step ahead. Then came the critical moment. The alien attempted a devastating double strike, aiming to end the duel in one powerful blow. The girl saw the slight pause between the strikes, the only weakness in his attack. With lightning speed, she rolled under his claws and sprang to her feet behind him. In one fluid motion, she crossed her swords, one cutting high, one low. Sparks erupted as metal clashed with molten armor. The alien stumbled, caught off guard. She twisted and struck again, a precise combination that left him off balance. The crowd erupted in cheers, some screaming, some whispering in awe. She is unbelievable," said one alien. No species could survive him except her. The alien recovered quickly, swinging his claws in a wide arc. But the human girl had anticipated this. She stepped aside, using her momentum to strike from a new angle. Her left sword grazed his armor, while her right pressed him back, controlling the flow of the fight. He roared in frustration. "I cannot believe a human." His words trailed off as he realized he was losing control of the duel. The human girl pressed her advantage. She knew she had to end this before the alien regained his strength. She moved with unmatched precision, striking at weak points in his armor, targeting openings he had not even realized existed. Each strike was deliberate, each motion calculated. The massive alien began to stumble, fatigue showing despite his immense power. He tried to strike again, but her speed and agility were overwhelming. Every attack he made was blocked or redirected, leaving him vulnerable. Finally, she saw her chance. The alien raised one claw for a final, powerful strike. She dodged to the side, rolled forward, and in one seamless motion, thrust both swords forward. Sparks flew as her blades connected with his armor, knocking him to the ground with a thunderous crash. The arena fell silent. Even the spectators could hardly believe what they had just witnessed. The human girl had defeated the largest, strongest alien warrior with skill alone, without relying on brute force. The alien struggled to rise, breathing heavily, his eyes wide with disbelief. How is this possible? He whispered. No human could ever. The girl stood over him, swords ready, but she did not strike again. She lowered them slowly, letting him understand the lesson she had taught him. Strength alone was never enough. Skill, strategy, and courage could turn the impossible into reality. The crowd erupted in a mixture of awe and excitement. Aliens whispered to each other, shaking their heads in disbelief. Humans, they are not weak. They are unstoppable. The defeated alien rose slowly, kneeling before her. "You are extraordinary," he said. "I have underestimated your species. Humans are not what we believed." The human girl nodded, her calm demeanor unshaken. "Strength alone does not win battles," she said. "Skill, strategy, and courage do." The arena erupted again, the story of her skills spreading like wildfire. Aliens who had doubted humans now looked at her with respect, fear, and curiosity. She had not just survived. She had rewritten the rules of combat. As she left the arena, the human girl felt a strange mix of pride and anticipation. The universe was vast, full of species stronger, faster, and more dangerous than anything on Earth. But she had learned something crucial. Skill could level the playing field, and humans, underestimated for so long, had the potential to surprise every species they encountered. And somewhere, in the shadows of the crowd, the alien spectators whispered among themselves, "She is not just a human, she is a force to be reckoned with." The sun began to set over the arena, casting long, golden shadows across the ground. The human girl looked at the horizon, knowing that the real challenges were still ahead. The universe would test her again, but for now, she had shown her unexpected skill, her adaptability, and her courage. The first true test of her skill had passed. She had faced a warrior stronger than any human should face, and emerged victorious. The aliens had witnessed something unprecedented, something that would change their perception of humans forever. And in the quiet of the training grounds, one thing was certain. Humans could not be underestimated. The arena was tense, every eye fixed on a human girl. The stories of her previous duels had spread across the alien colonies. She had defeated the Red Warrior. She had overcome the massive green-eyed brute, and now the final challenger awaited. This opponent was unlike any other, a predator of unmatched skill and cunning. Feared across the galaxy. The gates opened, and he stepped out, taller than most aliens, with scales that shimmer like black steel and eyes like molten gold. He exuded power. His long claws dripped with energy, and his tail lashed behind him like a whip. The crowd fell silent. Even the most confident spectators felt a wave of fear. "You have survived far too long," the predator hissed, his voice low but menacing. "Today it ends." The human girl tightened her grip on her swords. She had trained for moments like this. Her previous duels had tested her skill, speed, and courage, but this would test her mind as much as her body. Every instinct, every reflex, every decision mattered. One mistake could mean defeat. The duel began. The predator struck first, fast as a striking serpent. His claws cut through the air, leaving glowing trails. The human girl rolled on the first strike and countered with her right sword, then followed immediately with her left. Sparks erupted as metal met energy. The predator roared, stepping back, surprised at her speed. He lunged again, this time feinting left, striking right. The girl anticipated the movement, twisting and spinning to avoid the strike, countering with a precise swing of her swords. The clash echoed across the arena, the ground trembling under the predator's massive steps. The crowd gasped. No human had ever fought like this before. They whispered in awe. "She moves like two warriors at once. She is unstoppable." The predator hissed, frustration flashing in his molten gold eyes. He had never faced an opponent who could match his speed. He relied on strength, precision, and intimidation, but the human girl was unpredictable. She adapted with every movement, blocking, striking, and evading in perfect harmony. The human girl darted forward, her sword slicing at angles that forced the predator to defend constantly. He swung his claws in wide arcs, but she rolled, flipped, and spun, always just out of reach. Her movements were fluid, almost graceful, but deadly precise. Then came the first turning point. The predator lunged, his claws glowing with energy, aiming for a killing strike. She ducked, but the force of the attack sent her sliding across the arena floor. Sparks flew, dust rose, and the spectators leaned forward, eyes wide in shock. The predator snarled, advancing with lethal precision. "You cannot survive me," he roared. The human girl gritted her teeth. Pain shot through her shoulders, but she had no time to falter. She leaped onto a raised platform at the edge of the arena, using its height to gain momentum. She spun in midair, her sword striking in perfect coordination, clipping the predator's armor and forcing him to step back. The alien crowd gasped. The human was using the arena itself as a weapon, turning the environment to her advantage. She was not just fighting. She was controlling the battlefield. The predator hissed, circling her. He was fast, yes, but she was faster. He lunged, twisted, and spun, trying to overwhelm her with sheer speed and strength. Each strike was met with a parry, a dodge, or a counterattack. Sparks flew with every contact, illuminating the arena in flashes of light. The human girl's mind raced. She needed to end this duel decisively. She studied the predator's patterns, noticing a slight delay after his spinning strikes. That was the opening she needed. She leaped forward, crossing her sword in front of her, one attacking high, the other low. The predator tried to block both strikes simultaneously, but she was too fast. Sparks flew as metal and energy clashed, and the predator stumbled back, almost losing his balance. The crowd erupted into cheers and gasps. The human girl had turned the impossible into reality once again. The predator's eyes widened, disbelief flashing across his molten gold irises. But the duel was far from over. The predator's tail lashed out, striking the ground with enough force to send a wave of energy toward her. She jumped back, narrowly avoiding it, and rolled forward, landing gracefully and bringing both swords into position. He hissed, his claws slashing downward in a deadly arc. She blocked with both swords, feeling the immense force push her to her knees. Sparks erupted, metal screeched, and the sound echoed across the arena. The crowd held its breath, sensing that the final moment was near. The human girl rose steadily, her breathing calm, her eyes focused. She knew this was the moment to strike. Using the predator's momentum against him, she spun under his strike, twisting her body in midair. With lightning speed, she slashed with both swords, hitting precise points along his armor. The predator roared, staggering. The human girl pressed her advantage, moving faster than ever, her sword striking in a deadly rhythm. Sparks flew, energy hummed, and the sound of clashing metal filled the arena like thunder. The predator's movements grew wild, desperate. He swung, spun, and lunged, but she was always one step ahead. Her skill, speed, and strategy had turned the duel completely in her favor. Finally, the decisive moment came. The predator leaped high, aiming for a final, crushing strike. She rolled to the side, springing to her feet behind him. In one fluid motion, she thrust both swords forward, one striking high, one low. Sparks flew as her blades hit weak points in his armor, and the predator fell to his knees, defeated but alive. The arena was silent for a heartbeat, then erupted into deafening cheers. Aliens of every species in the crowd stared in awe. The human girl had done what no one thought possible. She had defeated the galaxy's deadliest predator using skill alone. The predator struggled to rise, looking at her with molten gold eyes filled with shock, disbelief, and respect. How is this possible? He whispered. No human could ever. The human girl lowered her sword slowly. She had proven her point. Strength, size, and power were not everything. Skill, strategy, and courage could turn the impossible into reality. The crowd erupted again, a mix of excitement, fear, and admiration. Even the strongest aliens had to acknowledge the truth. They had underestimated humans for far too long. The human girl sheathed her swords, breathing steadily. She had survived the final clash, and in doing so, had changed the way the universe viewed her species. No longer were humans seen as weak, fragile, or inferior. They were capable, unpredictable, and formidable. As she left the arena, whispers followed her. She is unstoppable, a force no species can ignore. The sun set over the alien training grounds, casting long shadows across the battlefield. The human girl walked forward, knowing that her journey was far from over. The universe was vast, filled with challenges far greater than anything she had faced. But she had proven one undeniable truth. Humans could fight in ways no other species expected. And somewhere, watching from the shadows, the defeated predator clenched his fists. He would never forget this day, and neither would the others. Humans had arrived, and they would never be underestimated again. The final clash had ended, but the legend of the human girl was just beginning. The arena was quiet now, the echoes of the final duel still lingering in the air. The human girl stood tall, her sword sheathed, her breathing steady. Every eye in the crowd, was fixed on her. What they had just witnessed was not a human surviving, not just a human winning. It was a human rewriting the rules of combat. The defeated predators, warriors, and champions of the alien species slowly rose from their places. Some were injured, others exhausted, but all were silent. They looked at the human girl with a mixture of awe, fear, and something new, respect. For generations, aliens had believed that strength and size defined superiority. But the human girl had proven them wrong. She had relied on skill, strategy, and courage, turning their expectations upside down. The largest predator, the one with molten gold eyes, approached her cautiously. Every step he took made the ground tremble. "You are extraordinary," he said, his voice low but sincere. "I have underestimated humans. You are not what we believed." The girl met his gaze. She could see the honesty there, the realization that humans were capable of more than brute strength. "Strength alone does not win battles," she said simply. "Skill, strategy, and courage do." The predator lowered his head, a sign of respect among his species. The crowd of aliens, previously filled with doubt and scorn, erupted into whispers of admiration. "She is incredible," one said. "No species can match her skill." The human girl's victory was more than a personal triumph. It was a statement, a declaration that humans could compete with any species, no matter how powerful. She had survived impossible odds, faced the strongest warriors in the galaxy, and emerged victorious. She walked slowly through the arena, letting the crowd witness her composure and confidence. Every step reinforced the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans could adapt, learn, and outsmart opponents much larger, stronger, and more experienced. As she reached the center of the arena, the Grand Council of alien leaders stepped forward. Their robes shimmered with energy, their eyes filled with careful observation. "Human," one leader said, voice echoing across the arena, "you have shown us something we did not expect. Your skill and courage have earned respect across our species. You have changed the way we view your kind." The human girl bowed slightly. She had not come for praise, but she understood the importance of recognition. "Thank you," she said. "I only do what humans always do. We survive, we adapt, and we never give up." The crowd erupted once more. Some cheered, some cried, and some simply stared, unable to believe what they had witnessed. She had achieved something historic. But even in victory, the human girl knew that her journey was far from over. The universe was vast and unpredictable. There would be challenges far greater than today's duels. There would be species with powers and abilities she could not yet imagine. There would be battles where survival itself was uncertain. She took a moment to reflect. Standing alone in the center of the arena, the weight of the duels pressed on her shoulders, but also a sense of purpose filled her heart. She had proven that humans were not to be underestimated, and she had earned the respect of warriors who had never thought it possible. From the shadows of the arena, whispers of admiration grew louder. Aliens discussed her movements, her strategy, her skill. Some began to train differently, studying her techniques, hoping to understand the human approach. Others simply shook their heads in disbelief, realizing that a species they considered weak had rewritten the rules of combat. The human girl looked at the horizon, the alien sun casting long golden rays across the arena. She could feel the weight of her responsibility. She was not just a warrior. She was a symbol that humans, underestimated for centuries, could achieve the impossible. As she left the arena, she noticed the defeated predators gathering in the distance. Some approached her cautiously, offering words of respect. "We misjudged your species," one said. "But now we see humans are formidable." The human girl nodded. She had no time for arrogance. Every victory was a lesson, every battle a step towards something greater. The universe was vast, and she had only begun to explore its challenges. The crowd slowly dispersed, leaving her standing alone in the arena. She lifted her eyes to the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. Somewhere out there, new opponents were watching, curious about this human girl who had defied expectations. A soft breeze carried the whispers of the alien species. No species can match her. No species can survive her. A human has changed everything. The human girl smiled faintly. She knew the truth. The universe was full of danger, full of challenges that would test her limits. But she also knew that skill, courage, and determination were weapons more powerful than any claws, armor, or energy blade. And somewhere in the shadows, new challengers were preparing. They had heard the stories. They had seen the duels, and they knew that humans were a force to be reckoned with. The next challenge would be harder, more dangerous, but she would be ready. The human girl walked toward the exit of the arena, her swords glinting faintly in the fading sunlight. She had earned victory and respect, but she also carried the weight of expectation. The universe had taken notice, and her story was only beginning. Behind her, the alien warriors and spectators whispered among themselves, "She is not just a human, she is a legend." And in that moment, the human girl knew one undeniable truth. No species could underestimate humans again. The night settled over the arena, quiet and still, but the echoes of her victories would travel far and wide. Stories would be told of her courage, skill, and unexpected strength. Aliens across the galaxy would speak of the human girl, who had dual-wielded her way to glory, changing the way every species viewed humans forever. The human girl paused at the edge of the arena, looking out into the vastness of the stars. She knew that countless challenges awaited her, battles that would test her even more. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of pride. She had survived, she had conquered, and she had earned the respect of the galaxy. The stars shimmered above her, a silent audience of the human girl's triumph. Somewhere out there, new adventures awaited. New duels, new opponents, new challenges. But she would face them all, armed not just with swords, but with skill, courage, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. And as she disappeared into the night, one thing was certain. The universe would never forget her name.